Here we go again. India is about 1/3 the size of the United States, but it is the second most populous country in the entire world. It is no secret that in Indiana we are having one hot summer, but imagine our heat times 10. India is reaching temperatures that it never has before. According to Business Insider, India is currently battling intense heat waves that have killed more than 100 people. The startling news headlines cause people to pay attention for once, but is it enough or is it too late? First, you have to look at the bigger picture, global warming. It is the most talked about thing on social media, as well as the steps we can take to stop our world from blowing up into flames. But the fear is never enough to evoke enough people to make a change to better the planet for future generations. Global warming can not only be seen in the melting ice caps, but also in India. According to Slashdot, an anonymous reader stated that heat waves in India usually take place between March and July and abate once the monsoon rains arrive. But in recent years, these hot spells have become more intense, more frequent, and longer. I know what you're thinking. So it is getting hotter in India. Well, why don't they just move? You have to look at the bigger picture. Moving out of India is a short-term solution. How long until the United States is too hot for humans to survive? David with the Degree Weather Department gave insight to this particular situation when he stated that Delhi hit 118 degrees Fahrenheit in the beginning of June. And west of the capital, Churu in Rajasthan nearly broke the country's heat record with a high of 123 degrees Fahrenheit not much far after. You might be thinking that 118 and 123 degrees Fahrenheit doesn't seem that hot, so let me put it into perspective. According to KRTV, sustainability is based on what is called wet bulb temperature, which is a combined metric of humidity and the outside temperature. When the wet bulb reaches 35 degrees Celsius, it becomes impossible for humans to cool their bodies through sweating. Hence, it indicates the survival temperature for humans. A few hours of exposure to these wet bulb conditions leads to death, even for the fittest of humans. India has reached these temperatures on more than one occasion. Last summer, 5,000 people died due to the heat. It's a scary thing to think about, which is why India is scammering to try and stop their terrifying fate. KRTV.com explained that India is still in the initial stages of developing a robust nationwide heat action plan. A signatory to the 2015 Paris Climate Agreement, the country has pledged to cut its carbon emissions by 33% to 35% below 2005 levels by 2030. Climate Action Tracker, a site that analyzes countries' progress, says India is making good headway, but could do more by reducing its reliance on coal power stations. A report by India's Central Electricity Authority released this week found that coal power could still account for half of India's power generation in 2030, despite the country's investment in solar power. Given the more frequent heat waves and dire future predictions, capping a rise in global temperatures could very well turn out to be India's most important challenge in decades ahead. The survivability of more than a billion people is at stake. India is in a scary mess right now. This is something that could also happen to America if we do not start taking a stand and doing what we can to prevent this. The Earth has a scary fate with global warming. India is currently learning the hard way.